Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to present you the Char 25t with some first impressions, and unlike a lot of the recent videos that I did, I also want to have a look at the stock performance with some actual footage to actually bring something effectively in terms of footage, in terms of proper argument to the table of the discussion that's currently going on with 3 parts in FPE. And whatever comes of this, I think it's currently so much better than what we have at the moment. And it is very important to see it in the frame of this tank. And I only focus here on the fire prevention equipment, since the scenes that I want to show you are smack on right there. And they just are undeniably a proof of the ongoing current thought that it should be at least there for one use, the fire prevention equipment that is. And the Char 25t, well, what is it? It's actually a relatively wide, fat French tank, light tank of battle rating 6.7 with an oscillating turret, and I could make obviously a full review of it, but I think I leave it to those two scenes that I want to show you, and I hope you forgive me if I ramble a little bit on about the tank without it being a tank review, but a first impressions. So I played the first 10 matches and a bit more of them completely stock before I golden eagled my way through. You see, I'm broke. I'm waiting for a bit of replenishment from Gaijin, if they'll ever do so again after my statements. But honestly, this tank is really nice, and I think it is how a light tank actually should be. A light tank should not have everything, but a light tank should have the tools necessary to do the job. And the Char 25t is certainly no Object 906 with a stabilizer and the insane reload and the option of switching between heat and APHE rounds, being very fast and amphibious. No, this tank is actually a fair fighter. All the more amusing was the result that I got, where I was a bit lucky with the matchmaker, but I think from time to time it is really nice to be top tier. So we have the 90mm SA45 cannon, which we will find a full battle rating lower and a full tier lower on the RL44 heavy tank, or tank destroyer officially, with the same ammunition. So let's have a look at the modifications, and we can see 90mm obus de rupture has 193mm of penetration, 1000 meters per second mass velocity, great post-penetration damage effect, ammunition blows up, you kill the crew, and all the other modules like engine, turret rotation ring, they all get damaged as well. So it's not like an APHE, but it certainly is good enough for a light tank in particular. Then we also have 22.6 degrees of turret rotation speed. If you look at the crew, gunner, of course, it's 24 maxed out, and gun elevation speed 4 degrees per second, 6 degrees of gun depression, but only 11 degrees of gun elevation, so you have limitations. You also have no heavy machine gun at your disposal, so that is a bit annoying versus aircraft versus SPA, but you have to act carefully. You're a light tank at the end of the day. Reload rate 6.7 seconds. So you don't really feel the fact that it's actually an autoloader, and very often you run out of ammunition in sticky situations, as you will see later on. Horsepower to ton ratio approaching 19, and that's not really bad. You go really fast forwards and backwards with 65 kilometers an hour, and that is not that bad at all. So upgrades, you can see you need not to research any ammunition. Smoke and artillery are desired tools for any sort of tank, and then you really need the engine, transmission, filters, tracks, and brake systems, and then obviously how important are parts in FPE. Well, let's see how important they actually are in just a moment, but before that I have to say I like the tank. It's a proper light tank, I love it, and I did come back to my roots of ranting about stock grind and so on, and I never forgot how awful it is to stock grind a tank. I never forgot. This is why I have the opinion about the Leopard 1 and the M60 and so many other tanks that have this horrifying stock grind, not just for parts and FP, but also with stock ammunition, like the Patton series in general. So I think what I have come to is actually to show how a tank can work when fully upgraded, and how to go through the upgrades in a sensible way. So without further ado, let's have a proper look at the battle. So now I want to show you the stock performance. This is the tank in its 4th battle. It happened on Berlin. I want to flank around, but I'm completely stuck, so my mobility is not the strongest, and also I lack obviously the FPE. And what this will result in is actually the fact that this guy here gets a lucky shot off, and he damages nothing except my fuel tank in the very back, and I'm burning. Gladly there is a river to my left, but I also need to think about getting out of it again at some point. But we can see we're very lucky. We have here this position right in the front to our left front, and when we actually can jump into the river, we might get out of there again without, you know, drowning, which is the other extreme, but no. Gudgeon says no. And that is exactly the point people are complaining. You're doing nothing wrong, you want to actively participate in the gameplay, and you get punished for it. Let's have a look at this battle, which is now in Eastern Europe, and we go right in, and again the very same procedure as every battle. We actually want to go through the flank, we actually jump over the bridges and use our mobility hopefully to scout the enemy, to disable their light tanks or the tanks that want to actually attempt to flank, and maybe then also try to actively intervene in the fight that is occurring around A. Because, you know, very great game mode. There is a capture zone. Wow, have never seen this in War Thunder. I almost fell from the bridge with this news. So, yeah, you can see, or maybe you don't really feel it, but the mobility is significantly better. The acceleration, the engine response is better. Everything is just spiced up. Everything is tuned. And this makes such a difference. Now, the problem in War Thunder is that the majority of your opposition is always upgraded. They mostly have FP and parts. So, I mean, it's an old design. I guess it was designed to be really annoying at tier 5, and that's understandable, but now we have already tier 6. We moved from the top tier battle rating to 10.0, and I just overlooked this Panther. I see him right now, and sharp turn, and my engine, my fuel tank is burning. I extinguish the fire. I see that he wants to chase me down, and I just come around this corner. That's the only thing that now I can do. I lay an ambush, I prepare it, and there it is, and he makes the big mistake of giving me the side of the tank, easy ammo rack shot, and then we are here, and oh boy, just as the fire extinguisher comes off cooldown, my fuel tank gets set on fire again. The target expects me to actually go through, to run through for the finishing shot, but I instead finish him off with a crew knockout, or rather an ammunition detonation. There is a second target, we scout him, we run through 2 fire extinguishers, and we have already eliminated 2 heavy tanks and 1 medium tank that is considered to be a heavy tank among the Russians. All the more amusing that once upon a time the Panthers had actually hull break. Talking about hull breaking something, what is that? Is that the buff Tiger? You know, it's a Gaijin buff for Germans. Amragna in the back of the turret with no option to do anything about it, and this is why I switched from the gun breaching shot to the actual ammo rack shot, and as I said, the shot is very reliable. We see some action going on there, so we scout this tank. It's again a Panther in the shade. looked for a moment like a Jagdpanther. We killed the crew in the turret. We aimed then for the front because there was actually no ammo rack where we aimed for. So this player actually took out a lot of ammunition from the side, and so we had to actually spend 2 shots in. And this is how you get an ace. Just like this. After 2 fires were extinguished. And I was driving pretty recklessly. I do not recommend to try this at home, boys, but this is just the difference. And you might think, that's not all, is it? Yes, it's not all, because I want to continue the fight. So I want to go deeper behind enemy lines, and I just want to see how I can still interrupt the enemy's flow of the battle. My damage is done. We are about to capture A, and we are establishing a front line, and the enemy has to come from their spawn one by one, whereas we have a standing front line. This makes a huge difference in actual battle performance. And then obviously I see here many tanks going on, and this tiger looked a bit weird because there was actually a Jagdpanzer 70 right in front of him. I wait for this panther, and then I actually continue to spot those guys. Lots of smoke, lots of debris flying around. First we kill this guy off, and I actually didn't notice the panther in my gun sight. So talking about tunnel visioning, there it is for you. The problem comes in right now with this tank because we have an autoloader and we have to wait for some time to get back a shot. So I'm right out of ammunition right now. So I'm standing here after my 8th kill, spotting this guy, getting shot from the back while I actually wanted to just stand there for refilling my ammunition. I saw it in the combat messages that there was a Waffenträger. The second shot now further deals damage to me, and again I scout him, and my last action is to actually put an artillery strike on him, and now I get deleted. Do you see the difference between stock performance and fully upgraded performance with what you actually can get away with in a light tank? Yes, I know this might be a bit of an extreme example. Nevertheless, this is what I wanted to bring to the table. You're free to share this link with people that have this discussion, that don't really feel what's the point of what's the problem. And I think this is a fair argumentation for a change of FP and parts. And maybe you unite both modules in one module at rank 1, of course. Maybe you give us as stock just 1 charge each, and then we can refill it in the cap, and fully upgraded we might have 3 charges. This would be a great benefit to the overall battle experience within War Thunder throughout the tiers, in my opinion. And I think that's it for me today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you agree, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this whole topic, which kind of changes you would effectively suggest to Gaijin as a fair compromise. And as usual, we'll see each other in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.